Welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. My name is George Wright III. Thanks for joining me this morning. I missed you yesterday, had so many different things going on and clients that I was unable to upload a podcast, but today we are going to jump into it. So let me start with the quote of the day. It's from Denzel Washington. And the quote is, "If you don't fail, you're not even trying." What a great way of saying that failure is the gateway to success. It's definitely needed, and so you should be willing to fail faster. All right, so today I was working out with my trainer, Jeff Cameron, and we had an interesting conversation. The conversation was about how your mind naturally tends to go to the negative, and I think you've probably experienced that as well. And it was just kind of an interesting conversation about why doesn't it tend to go to the positive? Why does it always go to the negative? And it really brought me to the realization or the awareness, once again, that you have to be consciously aware of your thoughts at all times. That's what's going to help you to keep out of getting stuck in your head or going down any kind of negative path or even feeling overwhelmed or stressed or full of anxiety. Because we all have this voice inside our head, this one that's out there constantly chattering and moving. And it made me think a little bit about, a while ago, I highlighted a little bit out of a book that I really like. It's a book called The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Michael Singer, The Untethered Soul. I really, really recommend that you get this. What this book is about is it's about the idea of becoming more consciously aware of your thoughts and that you are not your mind, that you're the objective observer of your mind. And so what I wanted to do, I was going to take a minute and I'm going to read to you a few pages from this book because I know many of you will not go out of your way to go find it, but some of you will. And I want to read to you a couple of things because it's a very, very good way. He has a great way of explaining this whole idea that you are not your mind and that you need to be consciously aware and train your mind in order to really direct your thoughts and take your life to the next level. So I'm going to read you a little bit from this book. It's from chapter 2, which is titled Your Inner Roommate. And I'm just going to read it to you, and I hope you enjoy. I hope it gives you some thoughts and inspiration for the day. It says, "Your inner growth is completely dependent upon the realization that the only way to find peace and contentment is to stop thinking about yourself. You're ready to grow when you finally realize that I, who is always talking inside, will never be content. It always has a problem with something. Honestly, when was the last time that you really had nothing bothering you? Before you had your current problem, there was a different problem. And if you're wise, you'll realize that after this one's gone, there's going to be another one. The bottom line is you'll never be free of problems until you're free from the part from within that has so many problems. When a problem is disturbing you, don't ask, what should I do about it? Ask, what part of me is being disturbed by this? If you ask, what should I do about it? You've already fallen into believing that there really is a problem outside that must be dealt with. If you want to achieve peace in the face of your problems, you must understand why you perceive a particular situation as a problem." I love this because this really helps you to understand that your perspective and your filter you put on things is the key. I'm going to skip around a little bit, but it says, "The act of maintaining objective awareness of the inner problem is always better than losing yourself in the outer situation. This is the essential difference between a spiritual-minded person and a worldly person. Worldly doesn't mean that you have money or stature. Worldly means that you think the solution to your inner problems is in the outer world. You think that if you change things outside, you'll be okay. But nobody has ever truly become okay by changing things outside. There's always the next problem. The only real solution is to take the seat of, and listen to this, the only solution is to take the seat of witness consciousness and completely change your frame of reference. To attain true inner freedom, you must be able to objectively watch your problems instead of being lost in them. Because problems are generally not what they appear to be. When you get clear enough, you'll realize that the real problem is that there is something inside you that can have a problem with almost anything. The first step is to deal with that part of yourself. This involves a change from outer solution consciousness to inner solution consciousness. You have to break the habit of thinking that the solution to your problem is to rearrange things outside. There is a part of your being that can actually abstract from your own melodrama. You can watch yourself be jealous or angry. You don't have to think about or analyze it. You can just be aware of it. Like I said, I'm skipping around a little bit because I've highlighted some thoughts, but once you take the seat of consciousness, you can get rid of these personal disturbances. You start by watching. Just be aware that you're aware of what's going on. What you'll notice is that you're watching a human being's personality with all its strengths and weaknesses. It's as though somebody is there with you. You might actually say you have a roommate. That's this whole concept of inner roommate. If you'd like to meet your roommate, just sit by yourself for a while in complete solitude and silence. You have the right. It's your inner domain. But instead of finding silence, you're going to be listening to incessant chatter. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? I have more things to do. This is a waste of my time. There's nobody in here but me. Right on cue. There's your roommate. I think that's kind of funny. Basically, you're not alone in there. There's two distinct aspects of your inner being. The first is you, the awareness, the witness, the center of your willful intentions, and the other is that which you watch. And this is the key thought behind this book and what I want to have you think about today. The problem is the part that you watch never shuts up. If you could get rid of that part even for a minute, the peace and serenity would be the nicest vacation you've ever had. It's so true. A couple more quick thoughts here, and then and then I'll close up. The way to catch on to what your inner roommate really is like is to personify it externally. Make believe that your mind, the psyche, has a body of its own. You do this by taking the entire personality that you hear talking to you inside and imagine it's a person talking to you on the outside. Just imagine that another person is now saying all of this stuff that you say to yourself. Like, did you sit down, for example, to watch a movie? Did you turn off the lights? Go check. No, I'll do it later. I want to watch this movie. No, do it now. The electric bill is going to be too high. All this crazy stuff. And it's, I will tell you, if you're an entrepreneur and you're juggling different things, you're constantly dealing with stress and anxiety and what other people think and what you're trying to accomplish. And the key is to become aware of what this voice inside your head is saying. So the book goes on to say, how would you feel if somebody outside really started talking to you the way your inner voice does? How would you relate to a person who opened their mouth to say everything your mental voice is saying to you? After a short time, you'd basically tell them to leave and never come back, right? But we still put up with it. When you've sincerely tried these practices of self-observation and awareness, you'll see that you're in trouble. You realize that you've only had one problem your entire life, and that's you. And so I think that's a really, really good point. Plus, once you make the difference and the decision to free yourself from this mental melodrama, you're ready for some real teaching and techniques. Because you have to distance yourself from your mind in order to truly learn and apply what you want and achieve what you want. You're going to do this by setting directions in your life that are clear and not letting your mind distract you from it, because your will is definitely stronger and you need to make it stronger. Let's put it that way. Your mindset, you need to create a stronger mind than your habit of listening to this voice that you have. And so one last final thought. If you want to free yourself, you must first become conscious enough to understand what's happening here. Then you have to commit yourself to the inner work of freedom. As it is right now, your life is not your own. It belongs to this inner voice, and you have to take it back. And this comes really full circle back to the point I wanted to make that I was talking about with my trainer, and that is, by nature, we all have this little inner voice that distracts us, that questions us, that beats at our ego, beats at our confidence, beats at our self-esteem. And your experiences in life are going to determine your beliefs and your actions, and it's going to affect this voice. So the more you can train your voice for positive, the more you can train your mind and train yourself to be stronger than your mind, the more success you're going to have. And that takes work. That's why I have a daily mastermind. That's why I do daily rituals. That's why I have daily affirmations. So what I would encourage you to do, and this is the whole point today, is I want you to identify that inner voice that you have and make sure that you identify it as something separate and distinct from you. Because when you do this, you're going to realize that when these thoughts of negativity and these thoughts of anxiety or stress or even pressure show up, you're going to stop just believing them and you're going to start questioning them. And that's when your filter in your life is going to be so much stronger, and you're going to take a choice and a decision to be the conscious observer of your thoughts. And that decision is then a time you can go the direction and the route that's going to be most productive and effective for you. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. I know there's a lot of random thoughts for you, but that's my thought for today. I hope it's something that gets you thinking about how you can direct your thoughts, and that you are not your mind. You are the one that is training your mind. And so let's get down to business and do the inner work. Anyway, I appreciate you listening. Please do me a favor and share this podcast. Share this episode with somebody you think might benefit from it. And then hit me up with any feedback you have at the Daily Mastermind on Facebook or Instagram. Look forward to talking with you a little bit more tomorrow. My name is George Wright III, and this has been the Daily Mastermind. Have a great day.